If you don't believe me when me talk, just go to YouTube and look up Be Careful Who You File For and Carry Go Foreign. This isn't the first time we've done these topics because we've seen this too often over the years. Pull up a chair because I have a lot to say and this is going to be quite lengthy. The whole story is out there already, so we don't have to do much digging. Read some American news from Maryland and then read some Jamaican news and combine the two. Family members are talking. Everybody give them side to the story. But I want you to keep the same strength because you are the same one who says so, Flo. Every story have three sides. Your side, my side, and the truth side. Me not really know what that means still. I will put my own experience into this. Me not gonna blame the victim, but I'm just gonna show you how things escalate and can possibly end up like this. Right? Big people are talking now. So headline bust out now, and the headline says that Jamaican woman shot dead in Maryland and her husband is charged with murder. Welcome to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please. And then click the bell next to the subscribe button. Hover over it and click the option that says send me all notification. Stories like these, I normally follow all the way through. It could be a year or two from now. There will be more to this story because husband is now going to have to go through the prison system and he will either die in prison or he will be sentenced in prison, but we follow the entire thing all the way through. All right. So when we do an update on these things, this is how you get notified. So click that notification bell as well. All right. Shout out to Jamaica Observer. We're going to take it from them first. Friendship Trelawney. The shooting death of 34-year-old Jalicia Fairweather, otherwise known as JoJo, because I read some other stuff that was put up a memorial by her, for her, about the school that she went to and type of person she was, etc. It's a memorial that is posted online for Maryland victims of gun violence, right? So I know that she named JoJo. People call her JoJo. Anyways, in the Jamaican news, though, it says the shooting death of the 34-year-old in Prince George County, Maryland, in the United States, has left her family members in Jamaica devastated. It's shocking to the whole family. It's hard. It's very hard. Take it from me. The whole family is just, it's hard. One of my daughters, she can't take it. She's just crying like a baby. The woman's uncle, Ronald Nelson, said in an interview that was conducted with the Jamaica Observer. According to news reports in the Washington Post, who first broke the story, police officers responded to a shooting at a home on Maryland Park Drive in Capitol Heights about 7:50 a.m. on Sunday, August 21st. And when they arrived there, they found her, JoJo, with a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The report further stated that 37-year-old Orville Dean Fairweather, her husband, has since been taken into custody after initial reports indicated that he was the one that pulled the trigger. Well, if you read the American news account of this, he admitted to pulling the trigger. He gave up with no hassle. He didn't fight the police or anything. He didn't even attempt to run or flee the scene or anything. Him just kill her and stay right there for police to come. He has since been charged with first-degree and second-degree murder in relation to this particular incident. It's not something that you want to hear. When I heard first, I kept praying that she'll go to the hospital and survive. But when the news came and we found out that she didn't make it, it wasn't easy, continued her uncle, Nelson, who's a pastor. According to another family member who requested that their identity not be revealed, the husband and the wife, them wasn't living together at the time. The family members claim that she had gone to meet him on Saturday, only to hear that she had been shot the following morning. So if she went to meet him on Saturday, and how come they heard she was shot Sunday morning? Did she spend the night with him on Saturday and then argument broke out Sunday morning and him end up kill her? Was this one of these cases of let's separate and then see if we can work this out and all these things? You know, sometimes relationships get rocky and years of marriage, and then people decide, say, listen, this now work out for we. Me I go live over here, so you live over there, so. But then there's always that familiarity feeling. It's called familiarity. It's not necessarily love. It's people trying to hold on to stuff that they're already familiar with. You know, it's like, let me deal with the evil when me know, instead of going out there into the world and trying to find something new and it end up being worse than this. Or I've invested so much into this so far and I'm just familiar with this and this person, so maybe we can work this. Some people are of the mindset that marriage must last forever, and no matter how rough and rocky it gets, we will find a way to work it out, even if it means that we have to stop living together for a while and work it out from a distance until we start getting back close together again. We don't know the intricate details of why they were apart, but according to family members, they were not living together. She, however, went to go see him on Saturday, and news broke on Sunday morning that she was dead. While now you have to understand, a big people relationship, and big people relationship carry many dynamics to it. I'm going to get into all that. Fairweather died, leaving behind, these are all the intricate details that people want to know. People want to know where she met him. Was he Jamaican? How many years they were married? Do they have children together? All these things, it's all in here. Just keep paying attention. She died, leaving behind 3 children. She had a 17-year-old son from a previous relationship. And then she had 2 daughters, ages 5 and 4 months old. That's a new baby, whom she shared with her husband. All right. You're going to hear rumors out there that the 4-month-old baby is not his, and that's why she dead. I don't know if that's true. I never do a DNA, and I don't know these people. I'm just telling you that you're going to hear rumors. Will this rumor ever be confirmed? Also, I don't know. They were not living together, says a family member. How long were they not living together? I don't know. But rumors are out there that her 4-month-old is possibly not his, and that could have triggered this. So you're in a relationship. You tell your partner, say, let's split so we can work this out at a distance. Now, while you do that, you find out that your partner actually has something else going on with somebody else. You're thinking this is an amicable split that's supposed to mean that we're going to work on putting this back together, but they already have a whole other thing going on with somebody else. Then you find out, say, them even breed for the somebody else and the picnic is not yours. That could cause all kind of thing to happen as well. I mean, I know I see people saying all kind of stuff. I'm not trying to throw any dirt on the dead. I'm just exploring everything that's out there. Now, while the son, who is 17 years old, was already aware of the tragedy that his mom had died violently at the hands of her husband, his stepfather, family members were expected to break the news to the 5-year-old daughter by taking her to counseling on Wednesday. So they're going to do this in the presence of a counselor, somebody who can help her to process this grief, because this is going to be traumatizing for a 5-year-old. And honestly, a 5-year-old will not even have the mental capacity and wherewithal to gather all this up and process it. So she's going to need a whole lot of help. That baby, the couple of months old baby now, that baby won't know a thing, right? They're going to break it little by little to her, as she thought that her mom went out. Like, mommy gone out somewhere and she soon come back, right? And this is what a relative told the Jamaica Observer in an interview that was done. The deceased woman's father and her brother have already flown to Maryland to take custody of the children. My brother is taking it hard, very hard. Take it from me, very, very hard. We try to call him every hour or so, even though he has a lot of friends as family members. We have to keep checking up on him. His joy is to be with the grandchildren there now, cooking for them, making them feel comfortable, said Nelson. So they're talking about the the father, right? Fairweather's mother, he said, is inconsolable. And you might expect so, right? When you lose a child, especially under these circumstances, God help you, you better believe in something. These are the things that I tell people, say, me not care where you want to tell me about you believe in. If you believe in a sheep, cow, car, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Rasta, you better have some kind of unshakable faith, because life is going to throw you lemons and you might not be able to make lemonade out of it, right? Life is always going to throw you curveballs. There's a time for crying and there's a time for healing and these kind of things. She was a dental assistant. She immigrated to the United States when she was 11 years old, but had been a frequent visitor to Jamaica since her adult years. So she left Jamaica, classic case, left Jamaica pretty young, right? 11 years old. And then she became a frequent visitor in her adult age, in her 30s. And remember, she's early 30s. It was during those visits to Jamaica that she met her husband, the man who ended up a killer. Now, by this time, she had already had a child. She had already had relationships in the U.S., obviously. She had a child out of it because, remember, she has a 17-year-old son that is not his child, right? Even though he came into the relationship as stepfather. So this youth, 17, not his. And last one, questionable. Middle one is theirs, 5 years old. It was during the visits, these kind of visits to Jamaica, that she met her husband, who also hails from a place called Samuel Prospect, also in the same parish. And eventually, she got married in 2013. Now, if you do your maths correctly, 2013 to 2022 leaves us with what, 7 years? Yes, 8 years? Okay. She came to Jamaica, she fell in love, she married him, and after returning back to the US, she filed for him. Added Nelson. Nelson seems to be the family spokesperson. Nelson is also a man of the cloth, and Nelson is also related to her father. Her father is traveling right now with her brother. They have come to the US to take custody of the children, like we said earlier, and be around and comfort the children, the young baby and the 5-year-old, and the 17-year-old as well. Nelson said that Fairweather, or Jojo as she was called, was a lively, fun-loving, go-getter kind of person. But she was of a strong will. Read between the lines. Nelson said that Fairweather was a lively, fun-loving go-getter, but she was of a strong will. That could mean many different things. Maybe people did not tell her, said, don't marry him. And she has said, but my heart wants what my heart wants. Maybe she was the type that nobody could talk to when it came to certain things in her relationship. And, she have it that way. Some men can't take certain things. I'm reading all the comments on social media. And of course, here we go again. Jamaican man kill off them woman. Typical situation. They do it all the time. Then, of course, there are those comments, I will never date a Jamaican man. They all are abusive. They all have anger issues. They all end up killing their women. Blah, blah, blah. The story goes on. You know, right now, it's, how should I say it? It's stinging news right now. So everybody is on board. But it too will fade away in a couple of days. In a week or two, we won't be talking about this anymore. So while we are, let's go ahead and get it out there. Charlie says, another yardie gone abroad to disgrace us. Oh boy. According to the article, he was charged with first and second degree murder. First time I ever heard of that in the same matter. Well, that is one we will leave for the courts to work out, because we're not going to go through the legalities of that. The good part is that he was caught, right? But he didn't run, so it wasn't hard to catch him. And he admitted at the scene that he pulled the trigger, so it wasn't hard to catch him again. See? Now, let's let the law work there. We have her body. It's not like the Donnelly Donaldson case. Mike Graham says, this happens quite often. Women growing up in the US, coming home, meet local man, marry and take them back. Unfortunately, the woman does not understand that once these men are settled, that the story will change, because he will no longer be as compliant as he was before settling in. There's also that significant culture difference that will take many years of adjusting to before things can really gel, if it does gel at all. Wanna pay attention, you know. Of course, it does not always end in death, or more often than not, these people separate or they get divorced. This is so sad, as these women involved have opened many doors for men that were actually struggling in Jamaica. So what scenario this person is pointing out is one I actually wanted to talk about concerning this story. See? So you have women that go to Jamaica after they've been in the US for how many years, and they've been through countless and multiple relationships in the US. By the time they meet the Jamaican man that they're going to marry, you know, some women, I'm not saying that's what she did, I'm saying some women will actually expect this man to be subservient. Look what all I did for you. And me make you come a foreign. And me give you the opportunity to fly out and blah blah and all that. And that's kind of hung over a man's head, right? We've heard stories that go even worse than that. Like, me I call immigration upon you, and the man has to do everything that the woman says to do. I had one particular friend that I told my audience about before, how the woman stopped working and made him get 2 jobs, and would threaten him all the time with calling immigration and telling immigration that he's being abusive, and then cut his papers short. So he basically had to play the game until his papers came through completely. Once his papers came through, he quietly left the relationship. In this particular case, I don't know. But this comment from this person, where he says that these women must understand that once these men get settled in, that they will not be as compliant as they were before. They were compliant before because there's always that fear. Under law, the person filing always has the right to withdraw it, which means you would be sent back. So you'll be complacent until the paperwork come through. Then there's that cultural difference. She left Jamaica at 11 years old, right? Pretty young. She's getting married now in her 20s. She married in 2013. Then she have to have been in her 20s because she is early 30s now. So honestly, that's not really that long, but 11 is that age group where you're pretty impressionable. So 11 to say 26, 27, you're probably Americanized somewhat. And he who has never left Jamaica, he's probably still 100% Jamaican in our mind, along with all the cultural norms and stuff that comes from being Jamaican, living in Jamaica, never being away from Jamaica kind of thing. And they're going to have to work through all those dynamics in order to make things gel together. Give you a good example. She came here acclimated and like dogs. So she liked the dog in our house. And sometimes the dog even jump up on the bed because it's a little pooch. Him now, in a Jamaica, we don't have dog in our bed. So here I am living with you and you want the dog to be in my bed. So I'm going to grab the dog and fling the dog. It's going to be a problem. So if I say to you, listen, I don't like dog in my bed, she starts saying you're abusive to her pet and you're not a loving person because you can't even love a dog. You know, you see how these things can change up, like the dynamics, the cultural dynamics of things. Anyhow, Massa says you are totally accurate for your assessment. It's very sad. And Williams said, the person who discouraged from starting a relationship with this individual, the person was discouraged because that's the info out there. The person was discouraged from starting a relationship with this individual. People tell her before, girl, don't marry them. You come and you do your little thing and you see him, that's cool while you're here. But that married him and filing for him stuff, don't do it. So she was discouraged. Alright, so if you hear the uncle speak in the interview, the uncle said that she was a nice girl, a go-getter and all that, but she was of strong will. And I said you could read between the lines of that. Things were going on that people say don't do and you did anyways. You got warning, you still went down that road. Here it is, where someone stated that she was discouraged from starting a relationship with that same individual. They defied all advice, married and got the individual their green card. Then all hell broke loose after the green card came. There was significant abuse of all sorts that resulted in separation and divorce. Now, I don't know if the divorce was finalized, but I know there was talks of a divorce according to information that was out there. They had a child, and decades later, child support remains delinquent. So this person is saying, you know, him hang on till the green card come, and then when the green card come, all hell broke loose. And I'm telling you that's when most men who were under oppression usually feel, okay, it's time now to get vindicated. It's time now to get some revenge. It's time now to either leave the relationship or to turn up the problems now and get back some revenge for all the ish you put me through while I didn't have my proper papers here. So we don't know. And if we're going to go with the theory that stories have 1, 2, 3 sides, your side, my side, and truth, then we're going to have to go with this as well. Single life is not bad at all. I've been doing it for over 40 years and I don't have a wrinkle, says one person. Of course, now is when most people will jump in and talk about, especially women, to talk about how important it is now to be alone and why they are alone. Because many women have gone through some levels of abuse. But here's the thing. Many of them are unwilling to blame themselves or to factor themselves into the equation. You understand? You have women that poke and pry and prod and are abusive and leave a man no choice. No choice other than to be in an unhappy home. It's either you're going to live in an unhappy home because I want the home to be unhappy, or you're going to have to deal with me taking your child and going away and starting a new relationship and giving your child to some other man to raise, who she will eventually call daddy. Stepdaddy eventually get called daddy or get treated like daddy. So you will be out the equation. Sometimes these are the choices that women leave a man. I've said this before. Nothing in your life happens to you without you being involved in it to some degree or some level. So at some point we have to take responsibility, right? Another person says the man saw a way to get a green card and saw him get involved with her. They're saying this as if she didn't have a choice. She had the handle. He had the blade. You heard what I just said. She did have the handle and him did have the blade. Meaning, she is the one that could have fly into Jamaica when she feel like it, fly out when she feel like it. If you fly into Jamaica and you meet somebody who will give you the good sugar cane and some loving, you go in and you take that and you fly back out. You didn't have to go in, fall in love, file papers, bring them come which part you are. So it's not like he forced her to. And even if he was trying to force the issue, she could have easily said no and disassociate. She lives in a whole other part of the world, right? A place where he has no papers to even come close to her. But she chose to. So this whole, the man see a way to get a green card and him get involved with her. She wanted him. She wanted him to be with her. Also, was he a licensed firearm holder in the US is what others are asking, and I bet not. Just one of those Jamaicans who believe that having a gun is part of their identity. Another good woman gone because of a thug is what this comment was. Listen now, I won't even get into all that. There are a lot of us who carry guns who have no paperwork to carry the gun, and we have never abused anybody with the gun. We now go out there looking for no crime and violence. We live in a gun-filled society where the chances are highly likely that a crime will be attempted or committed against you involving a gun. We live in a highly criminal society where the chances of you running into criminals and criminality are highly likely as well. People just want to protect themselves, my friend. Unfortunately, in the US, some states, they don't even get the right to carry a gun, a private gun. So in those states, you will find people carrying guns illegally, not necessarily involved in crime, but carrying a gun to protect themselves. Thank God for the states like the states I live in. We're licensed and we're armed, and we have the right to do so per constitution. So is his gun legal when you use shooter and all that? I don't know. I'm willing to bet it wasn't though, but I don't know. Lorna says, this is very sad. A very sad ending for a mother, and a mother with 3 kids. Wow. But I think that you're jumping to conclusion regarding this green card thing, license and identity thing. And I said as well, yes, that person is going over way too much. You see, here's the thing. Me see a man make a comment, right? And his comment said, when some of them women are dead off, you see, or get killed off, nobody shouldn't really to run to be sympathetic and woe this and woe that. Because some of them is bare wickedness behind the scenes. And then when it all comes out in the front, is they are the victims, and they're always the victims, and the man is always the evil one. When in truth and in fact, she was the evil one behind the scenes, and the man was suffering. And of course, people are going to say, you're a man, walk away. But you have to understand that not everybody handles certain things the same way. Some things that I might walk away from is the same thing a next person might kill you for. You know, some women have man pan them man, and man find out and he walks away. He looks at it as an opportunity to start fresh, to start new, to get a new person in his life, someone who won't do him that way. Others look at it like, you have embarrassed me. I'm ashamed. You hurt my feelings. My ego is shattered. All this kind of stuff. Oh, maybe you did all that sleep with the man in my bed when I wasn't there. And they start to conjure up more stuff in their mind till they end up killing the person. See? So in other words then, people deal with things differently. And to just blame the man without knowing the full story is kind of weird. And it's kind of weird because this is a domestic issue. Us as grown people know how these domestic issues play out. I don't think that this man just wake up one day and decides that she dead today. Out the blue. No kind, loving, caring, all these years man just wake up one day out the blue and say, wifey dead today. Me a kill her. Something was happening. The it factor that made him decide to do this though is the factor that we don't know and we're trying to get to. See? I don't think there is any such thing in the US as a licensed firearm holder, says Denzel Martin. Unless one is a convicted felon or is mentally unsound, that person has a right to own a gun. The Second Amendment to the Constitution guarantees that. However, many states require a permit to carry one on your person, either concealed or out in the open. And Denzel Martin is exactly right. Right? There is more to this story, as I can guarantee you that they had a very volatile relationship that led to this tragic event. Yes. And in that event, I will say this. In closing, ladies, listen. If the relationship serves you no purpose, as in, this is it, this is not somebody I see myself with for the next 30 years, then leave. Yeah? But that whole dragging the relationship along kind of thing, and break up and come back and break up and come back and pack and leave and come back and pack and leave and come back, and then say nasty things to each other when you argue with each other and all that, I want you to understand that all you do is build up more stuff, and none of that stuff goes away. None of it. The only way those things go away is if both parties actually go to real counseling, where you're unable to unpack all these baggages, where somebody is able to say to the other, look them square in the eye and say, listen, I said this to you, I called you a whore, I called you a lying dirty bitch, I said that to you, I said this to you, and I want to truly apologize, because honestly it was out of anger, and I really don't think that that's what you are. The couple of times that you did leave when we were having arguments, I honestly thought that you left and you went to go have an affair with somebody else. I just can't prove it. So I've remained bitter all this time. And that person has to be able to unload all that in a safe space where the other person won't attack them. That's me. Me never leave and go do nothing. Me never leave and go do nothing. There you go again. It can't be that. The other person has to counter now with, okay, and I don't like when you talk to me like this. I don't like when you say that, and you continue to do it, and this and that, and then work out them issues. How often does that happen for us though? Because for we people, them don't really believe in going to counseling, you know, especially traditional counseling where you sit with a mediator. They don't. So at the end of the day, this story right here, tragic as hell. She has left behind 3 children. She is in her early 30s. She's pretty young. I must say that when I saw his picture, I thought to myself, he's probably mid 40s and she is probably like in her 30s, right? Early 30s, and I said he was in his mid 50s and she was in her 30s. So I was expecting there to be like an age gap, a 15, 19, 20-year age gap, and that could have also played a factor in their ability to reason with each other and fix things up whenever they had issues. It turns out they were only a few years apart from each other, and they're actually within the same age range. So that goes out the window. The brother look old. He looks old for his age. He does. He looks like he's in his 50s, like mid 50s. Not saying mid 50s is old, but if he's 37, looking at him, looking like 55, he looks pretty old for his age. So, me don't know what that about, but I thought I would just add that in there at the end. End of the day, this is us on the outside, speculating, gathering information that's been put out to the public, and putting one and one together to make our two. And this is my assumption, and this is my, how should we say this now? Commentary. And that's about it, right? Others will draw their own conclusions. Others will have their own assumptions and their own commentary to add. Please do that in the comment section below. My genuine condolences goes out to the family though, because regardless of what, a relationship should never, ever end like this. I'll catch you on the next video. Y'all be careful out there. Remember me to tell you from years ago. You could go look it up on YouTube. Just type in, be careful who you file for and bring go foreign, SouFLoTV, and you will see the video. Alright? I'm out. Peace.